Welcome back, everyone, to the Humor Career Insights podcast, your guide to navigating career success in a world that's changing faster than ever. I'm your host, Vache, a certified professional career coach, human resources consultant, and founder of Humor. Whether you're just starting out, climbing the ladder, or pivoting after years in the workforce, this podcast is here to equip you with the insights and strategies you need to thrive. This season, we're tackling a topic that's on everyone's mind: the future of work, how to stay relevant and thrive. From the rise of AI and automation to the shifting demands of leadership and the skills that will set you apart, we're diving deep into what it takes to not just survive, but thrive. To help us unpack this, I'll be joined by some incredible guests, industry experts, thought leaders, and professionals who are shaping the future of work. Together, we'll explore practical strategies, emerging trends, and actionable advice to help you stay ahead of the curve. So whether you're looking to future-proof your career, embrace new opportunities, or simply stay inspired, this season is for you. Let's get ready to thrive in the future of work, starting now.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Go My Code. Go My Code is a leading tech education institution dedicated to bridging the digital skills gap across Africa and equipping learners with the skills to thrive in the ever-changing digital world. Want to launch your career in tech or future-proof your skills in a tech-driven world? Go My Code is your go-to partner. Get hands-on training, work on real-world projects, and join a global tech community that supports your growth. No experience, no problem. Our courses are designed to be accessible, practical, and job ready. Start your journey today by calling us on 0208 730 470 or visit us at gomycode.com/ke.
Today, we're exploring a groundbreaking innovation from Kenya that truly caught my attention when I first saw it in the news. You've probably heard of ChatGPT and DeepSeek. But now, Kenya has entered the conversation with SIMba.AI, the country's first AI platform that translates English into local languages while also creating new pathways for employment and digital inclusion. To help us unpack it, I am so thrilled to welcome Mark Matunga and Randy Falkner, the visionary co-founders of SIMba.AI. Mark is the co-founder of SIMba.AI with a distinguished career spanning roles at global tech giants like Intel and Microsoft. He brings decades of experience driving digital transformation across Africa with a passion for ethical, inclusive, and locally relevant innovation. Randy is the chief engineer at SIMba.AI, a seasoned technologist with a deep background in developing human-centered AI-powered solutions. His work focuses on building scalable, secure, and socially responsible technologies. Welcome, Mark, and welcome, Randy, to Humor Career Insights.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Absolutely.
So I like to start the conversation with a brief introduction from both of you. And I'd like you to imagine you're at a dinner party, and the only person that knows you is the host. How would you like that host to introduce you? Let's start with Randy.
Mm-hmm. I would like for them to introduce me as myself. I'm down to earth. So my name would be Randy, just a friendly, well-known guy. Your everyday average Joe.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mark.
First of all, the name is Mark Matunga. I come from an island in Lake Victoria on the western side of Kenya. I am a father of 3, a husband of 1, a technology evangelist, and that is what I would want to be known as. And so, if somebody has picked up those nuances around who I am, that is more than sufficient. But most importantly for this conversation, I am a privileged co-founder of SIMba.AI together with Randy.
Excellent. Taking us straight into the next topic. What is SIMba.AI? For the layman, what exactly is it?
Does anybody know SIMba? SIMba is a Swahili word for lion. But not only that, the most important thing here is that what we have created in partnership with Randy, and of course I know that earlier on you had said that this is a Kenyan innovation. Actually, it is a global innovation, having a strong footprint in Kenya and a strong footprint in the US. So we sit in both worlds. Actually, even also presented by just the fact that Randy is from the US and I'm from Kenya, and we brought our minds together. That is what I would call the global synergy of what we are doing. But the reason it comes across as, as something from Kenya and something from Africa is because we decided to actually unveil SIMba.AI, which is an artificial intelligence engine, basically in the same league as all the others that you are mentioning. We decided to unveil it here in Kenya, and not just in Kenya. We went to one of the labs that we've been associated with in Nakuru that has close to over 300 machines or computers. And this computer lab, was basically set up to create digital jobs for young people. And most of these jobs were basically jobs that were being sent from overseas, and the young people would go and actually in that lab and work and be paid. And so that is part of what we've been offering. The beauty is that when it comes to artificial intelligence, that sort of changed that work environment or those work opportunities. Most of the work that was being sent to our lab for the young people to do, ironically or interestingly, has been taken up by artificial intelligence. So most of those companies have automated most of that work. So the jobs that the young people used to do in this lab, where we would offer 24/7 opportunities, 24/7 shifts, most of it has been automated with the same organizations that actually used to provide or make them available for the young people to actually work. And so for Randy and I, as we did set up SIMba as an AI, artificial intelligence engine and platform, we had to actually think really hard on how do we actually change the conversation that AI is taking jobs to AI creating jobs. And our staging in Nakuru was basically a practical demonstration of the fact that we have brought AI to create jobs and not to actually take jobs away. And that is why our platform was unveiled in our lab, in our digital lab in Nakuru. And we've been talking about a lot of people have been talking about artificial intelligence factory. For us, that is the first AI factory in Africa that is designed to create jobs for our young people. I know we'll get into that conversation a little bit more deeper on how we're actually creating jobs using artificial intelligence in Nakuru. And so I wanted to actually also just explain why we unveiled in Kenya. But we have engineers, of course, led by Randy, who sit both in the US and in Kenya, and a big number of those actually sit here. But the leadership of the engineering work that we actually have to do is by Randy.
I was really fascinated with the job creation aspect of the innovation, and we will talk about that a little bit later on. Randy, I would like for you now to just, if you can tell us the back end of it, the development aspect of it. You're the chief engineer, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you take us through those steps?
Yeah. So SIMba was built with its own inference engine. So once the model was trained, and this is why it became a big thing, being with local languages and places where there's limited bandwidth and things like that, made it super easy. So being that it runs its own inference engine, it has its own model weights. We don't use any APIs from anywhere. Makes it to where people, even on islands in Kenya, can use this with ease across mobile phones, even internet browsers, and what have you. It's super lightweight, making it fast. It's secure. So everybody that uses SIMba keep their own data. So most third parties like DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Claude, Novo, Flippo, all of those guys, they keep your data and they train their own model on that data, and we don't. You keep your own thoughts. You keep your own everything. It eventually falls off. The good thing about SIMba is it has a memory buffer, if you will, where it stores your chat for 30 days. And during that 30 days, you can reaccess that chat, right? After 31 days, it disappears in the UI, but then SIMba retrains on your own thought for you specifically. So let's use the example. If Mark were to ask how to make Kenyan tea, proper Kenyan tea, and you were to ask it how to maybe podcast templates, right? And then me would be how to make chapati, because I love chapati. My conversation with SIMba and the aspect of the recipe would only stay with me, would only stay with my user account, would only be the brain within my account. So even if I were to ask it later, how do I get a podcast template? It's not going to pull your information. It's not going to pull your thoughts. It literally is self-critiquing. So and in that regard, self-critiquing meaning it can give you an answer one time, and then later on in the conversation or in the thread, it will say, well, now that we're this far, I've realized I've made a mistake, and here's what we can do to fix it. And that brings a whole new aspect of AI to the industry. We have advanced reasoning, and that goes right along with it. So how all this works, the technical background is meant to be lightweight, fast, secure, and can run almost on any device.
That is really fascinating, because we all know data is gold, and it speaks also to data privacy, isn't it?
Yes.
It's fascinating to me that you mentioned this, because I was using DeepSeek a few weeks ago, and I was asking it to help me do a Canva design, and it gave me a couple of things, and then it said to me, now can you give me your email address so that I can send it through to you? And please note, I will erase it immediately after, kind of thing. So I gave it a fake email address. And then immediately after, I said, I haven't received it yet. And it said, apologies. I was trying to be a real assistant, but really I cannot send you an email. It's so fascinating how these things work, you know? So would SIMba do that to me?
No. SIMba would give you the image, and then you would download it straight from the UI. The only information that we gather is your username that you prefer, your email address that ties to your account, and any type of payment related things. So email for your receipts and things like that. We don't share that information anywhere, and it stays within a database that is it's got more security than my car, if that makes sense.
Okay, that is perfect. So basically everything comes from what I input into it, not what you input into it, for instance, and no one is going to get my information.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing that fascinated me about SIMba was the multilingual functionality. Why is that so important?
It's huge because, like for me, I'm learning Swahili just because I love the language. It sounds beautiful. And I'm using SIMba to do so. Being multilingual helps on a global, like if you were to look at this as a global the aspect of it. In the U.S., you have Spanish, which is really huge. And you have English, which is really huge. And I think would be German. German would be next. Most Americans have to take 3 languages in high school before they can even graduate. They have to know those 3 languages before they can go get a job. I don't. I refuse to. Because I thought that, why? Why? It's to be diverse. So when SIMba came out, and actually the funny story is, SIMba was created on 3 different data sets. And then once it was trained, it started learning on its own. It learned how to translate on its own.
Wow.
So I didn't do that. So Mark, he showed it to me. I was like, that's impressive. I mean, it blew my own mind. So it's important now, because if me being in Kenya, and for someone that can speak Luo and can't understand English, and I can't understand Luo, it's like the perfect thing, right? You just pop up from SIMba and say this, and let them read it, and they can be like, yeah, you know. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Wow.
I'll add to that. That is why the original design of any solution makes sense to how it's actually going to be useful to the users. The original design was to actually guide SIMba to learn as much as possible, and we were also, I mean, Randy might not tell you this, but that is really the philosophy, that we wanted an open design that allows for inclusion, and that was embedded in the engineering work that was done, which is why I have, as I was sitting here, I've just generated a poem, a laugh poem about Victoria Falls in Shona.
No way.
No,
In like the few seconds.
No, you can do that. It'll take 2 minutes, and I've just done that in Shona, and it's here, and you can read. I don't know what you'd call Victoria Falls in Shona, but of course you know why I picked Shona.
Yes.
They're close to about between 7,000 to 8,000 different languages around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And SIMba, because of the original design in the engineering work that Randy and the team did, because my job largely is to say, hey guys, this is what we really want to do. We want to actually create an inclusion environment, because more often than not, technologies like these have come from without Africa.
Yeah.
And so as Africa, we're always left with the responsibility of doing catch up. And so much as we have a technology that has a footprint in the US and a footprint in Africa, it then needs us to be also deliberate about creating that openness to allow the engine to sniff around and be able to bring in any of these local languages. That is why today, if you have not matured Shona in the digital space, SIMba will not learn it. But because there's sufficient information about Shona in the digital space, SIMba then picks it because it was designed with that original philosophy that you need to be open enough to learn what's coming across from every region. It then makes it easier now for the first time going forward for anybody in any village around the world to actually be able to interact with technology. My mother now can interact with technology. A pastor in a village somewhere in a corner of a country whereby they just speak Shona can actually interact with this technology, and that has been one of the largest barriers, language, in technology adoption or inclusion in what's going forward. So this to me is revolutionary, and I know that other engines in this space will strive toward that, but we are proud of the fact that actually we came up with an engine that drives that sort of inclusion, even from a language perspective. All the languages, and this same poem that we've just generated, it can very easily be translated into any language. It can be translated into German, into Chinese, into Japanese on the same platform. And if that is not one step forward in terms of creating jobs and creating inclusion, I don't know what is.
It is definitely a game changer. And I've been having these conversations for the last maybe 6 weeks now with different people on AI, technology, and the future of work. And one of the things that was there was this lack of inclusion and diversity. The conversation we had once was about how, when you put something into a search engine, the example was successful leaders. What it brought up was Caucasian men, an image of Caucasian men. And I mean, so if we're talking inclusion, even in terms of languages, this is the technology and the game changer that we really require in AI. So let's talk about that job creation we started off with. What jobs have you created?
That is why initially I'd started with us, and Randy will chime into this. I'd started with the fact of why we unveiled our beta version in Nakuru. Because we over a year ago we set up this lab, and then, by the way, we've been on SIMba for slightly over 1 year, working on it. So it's not just something that we just woke up with. There's been quite some methodical approach from an engineering point of view and from even a strategic point of view. And so when we set up the lab in Nakuru some time back, it was to actually create jobs, and jobs would be from largely the Western countries that would outsource these jobs to Leash AI lab. That is the lab we had in Nakuru. I know you might ask me why Nakuru. My simple answer is why not. And so when we had that lab there, it was to actually help young people to actually come, sit on a computer for 8 hours or even more, work on some of these assignments. Then we would quality assure them and then push them back to the companies that basically sent those sort of digital jobs. And then I told you that in the last 1 year, that has been diminishing. There's been a bit of reduction in a number of those jobs. And so even the more young people that we used to actually get to Leash AI labs to actually work were no longer getting those jobs and be paid for them. Now, so with SIMba.AI, we sat down as co-founders and designed deliberately a way that we would basically create jobs for young people. I heard you mention earlier, and it's a common phrase that data is the new gold. While I disagree with that statement, that's a conversation for another day. But truth be told, data is like really a critical resource. It is a critical resource across the world. I mean, information runs on data. We are sitting here now, we are creating data with this conversation. This is new information. It's part of data. There is no AI engine on the planet that doesn't have data as the lifeblood. So even the AI engines train on data. So then how did we also work on this? The first number of jobs that we created, close to about 30-something, Randy?
Yeah, it was 36.
As we were developing SIMba.AI, was to get data scrapers. Get young people sitting in our lab in Nakuru to actually scrape data that would then be processed by the engineering team, tokenized, and made available for SIMba to train on. You asked me a question, tell us what jobs you've created. That is the first very job that we get, apart from getting together a team of engineers led by Randy. That's job created. Then we realized that actually it is possible that we can fulfill our mission of job creation. Why? Because data is the lifeblood of artificial intelligence. Then it is important that we get more young people to actually scrape more data that can then be processed, tokenized, and fed into our engines to train and learn. Because every single day, when I'm having a conversation with SIMba, who is looking at me, and having a conversation with Randy, and having a conversation with you as my host, we are actually now creating new data. And these new data need to be processed, because what we're saying here will go into on any AI engine. So what we're doing here, we're creating new data. This new data needs to be processed and put in a format that, AI engines can train on them. If that is part of what needs to be done, then can a young person sitting in a lab in Nakuru scrape that data and be able to push it up to the engineering team, for the engineer team to process it and make it available for all these engines around the world to actually train on? Absolutely. So the first jobs that are there is for data scrapers, and not just basically the young people that are sitting in the lab in Nakuru. It is any young person or any person that has access to a device that actually can scrape data based on the format we shall have generated, we have set up for them, and you push it up. Once you push it, it is processed, and we're now working on how you can be paid based on the data that you shall be able to actually push up over a period of time. That is job creation. The other job creation, which I really like, and I think I want to pass it on to Randy, is the ability of using SIMba to train young people to create small models that we call agents, small AI models that we call agents, such that even for you, Baja, you can, an agent can be created that mimics your digital lifestyle and can even actually host this podcast on your behalf. That is something that can be created and sold to you. And if I'm a young person who has created that, I can sell it to you. I shall have made money from that as a young person. That is job creation. We are doing that as we speak. And I would like Randy to speak to that.
Yeah. So the AI marketplace, as we're calling it, SIMba.AI's marketplace. It's every job aspect within AI. So for anywhere from data all the way to creating models. Can be so front end, the way the website would look, UI would look, back end, databases, whatever it may be, cybersecurity even. People can go in and create certain aspects or a full blown AI, put it on the marketplace, price of their choosing, and then they sell it to whatever consumer wants it. They come in and they buy it. And then to expand further on that, the AI marketplace, it has a developer side, which is for the engineers that are doing the work. And then there's a customer side or a consumer side. The consumer can go look at the developer's profile and say, okay, hey, I like the work that you've done here, here, and here. But now could you do this for me? Or could you do this for us? Or, and then get to the place where they're posting job forums and things so the developers can see those and interact with those as well. But utilizing SIMba, and we actually put this to the test when we had the media release. The data scientists that I have trained and been using to generate data for SIMba. I said, guys, have any of you ever thought about making a model before? And they looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, no, like we're not there yet. So, well, trust me. I walked them through how they could use SIMba step by step in creating their model. And I think over 6 of them have transferred over or transitioned into making models. And that's what they're doing. So by the time the marketplace is finished, we'll have about 30, 40 models that they've already done that's going on the marketplace to be sold.
The way to look at this is that, the App Store or Play Store.
Yeah.
The apps that are developed by people and then posted there.
Yes.
That is the easiest way to actually you can conceptualize our marketplace. That these young people, and not just young people in Nakuru, I want to insist, anybody around the world, a young person from Uganda, from Zimbabwe, can actually develop a model, an AI model, and post it there. And it can be downloaded, paid for, and most of that money will go to that young person. And that is how we are actually creating, part of how we are actually creating jobs for our young people. And that is why we are talking of the Africa's first AI factory It's a factory where we are actually going to generate a lot of AI models, a lot of AI agents that can be monetized by young people. But there's also the element of job creation or job loss, largely coming from AI, which has been the major fear in the education space, where we say, AI will replace the teachers. In the medical space, where we are talking of AI replacing the doctors, or in engineering. I mean, in any field, I think the biggest fear has been that, AI is going to be is going to replace a lot of people, a lot of jobs. We can debate around that, but you see, for us as SIMba.AI, we've taken a different view. We've taken a different route, that AI will and can create jobs, even for teachers. It makes it a lot easier for a teacher to actually be able to make lesson plans, do research. It helps them. AI can actually help the teacher understand the student or the learner more and even better, and guide that learner on what sort of resources they need to actually learn. So AI, it can be a sword that cuts both ways, but definitely if we tune our mind to embracing artificial intelligence, which is actually technology that is here, there's no reverse gear, unfortunately. I can make that announcement with sufficient confidence that there's no reverse gear. It's just basically moving forward. It is, how do we then prepare most people to embrace technology and do what they do in a better way using technology, including hosting this podcast. You can actually create an AI environment that creates opportunity to actually host this podcast, be able to edit faster than it's ever before, and even some of the questions you ask. You remember you asked me at some point if I can send you my profile, and I said no. But listen, here is a situation whereby you went onto one of the AI platforms and extracted my profile. I can tell that is really what you're able to do. And so you're still able to actually get your work done, even when you're dealing with difficult personalities like myself.
Thank you to LinkedIn. Yeah. Now, I am fascinated with the different languages and a little bit confused as well. Agent, model, persona. Is persona the same as agent?
No. So model is it's not compact, it's model. A brain. An agent is very specific. It can do one task, it can do 3 tasks, it can do 5 tasks. We were to look at it in an industry setting. An AI model that can write a paper, and that's it. Just write a paper, edit it, or do research. That is an agent small enough, less than what us engineers call LFS, large file storage. It's less than 100 megabytes. It's very compact and it's very quick. It's usually about 30, 40 lines of code. That's it. And then so it takes months and sometimes years to make a model. So we said, okay, how can we produce jobs? The fastest way to do that is agents, and agents are new. Like, not everybody knows about agents.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how they work, what they do, and it's literally just industry specific tasks.
And in addition to that, maybe you can also look at it this way. An agent is a mini model, the small models that are basically specific. And that is why, you're saying that we're confusing you, because we are talking of these guys who are actually creating agents.
Yeah.
And as Randy has said, an agent is basically an AI, a mini AI model that is specific to a task, or specific to a person, or specific to an industry. If you're looking at what we are now calling SIMba.AI, which is now a large model or a large language model, and Randy and I have agreed that where we are right now, we are actually an advanced language model. it's a big brain. And, in a brain, there are smaller parts of the brain that actually focuses. There are those who are just basically, inclined toward the legal space, the medical space, or if you want your personality and your digital lifestyle to be captured, it'll be captured in what allow me to call a mini model, which is basically what an agent is. So those small AI solutions are what we are actually referring to as agent. And that is part of how we are actually going to create jobs.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be millions and billions of these agents. And we want to actually incite our young people who are actually looking for jobs across the world to start using platforms like SIMba to create these models. And part of our job for Andy and I to actually figure out how they can actually monetize that.
Agents customizable?
The answer to this is yes, it can be. To where if you create an AI agent and the consumer wants to buy this agent, there's a way they can communicate, first off, between the developer or the engineer and the customer. And they can revise the agent however they want. They can rename it, they can give it whatever task, and they can even expand on that task up to so many times the developer will choose how many times that's done. The way that this is meant to be is it opens up a lot of freelance opportunities as well. You may be a host on a podcast and doing all of these other things, but maybe you're curious. Maybe you want to learn how to create an AI agent or something in regards. You can actually do that, and then you can say, "I really like this." And in today's world, in the AI ecosystem industry, in the tech space, there's even medical doctors leaving their practices to do this kind of thing. So it works. But yes, it can be customized, changed, however it sees fit. So once something is written, it's never written completely in stone. It can always be changed.
Okay. That is excellent and really good to know, because I was actually thinking maybe this is an opportunity for me to transition into this new era and leading to that.
And you're saying you haven't?
I may have, right? Reskilling. What is the one thing that you would like recommend or advise someone who wants to reskill and start learning about how to do this type of work?
The best, and that's a really good question. The best advice I can give in that regard is to start. What's stopping you? Is to start. That's the shortest answer I know, but it's a very powerful answer. Because if you don't start and you say, okay, I'm going to do this today and then I'm going to do it tomorrow. Well, then I'll do it today and I'll do it tomorrow. And then next thing you know, months have gone by. You realize you haven't done it. But the moment you start feeding the hunger, man, you'll be putting yourself, your best foot forward and putting yourself ahead. Just starting.
Thank you, Randy. Mark?
So Bacha, this is a good conversation. We are in a digital world, and so the life we lead today, close to 60% of the life we lead today is a digital lifestyle. The reason I'm saying the other 40% is that you need to sleep, so the computer can't sleep for you. You need to eat, so the computer can't eat for you. But the rest of the things, it's in the digital space. For me to get here, I was totally relying on technology. And AI is not a very new thing today. It's only that it's blossomed now, and it is extremely disruptive. And so you don't have a choice but to adapt.
Yeah.
And so reskilling is part of that adaptation for you to actually enjoy and be able to appreciate and just live well. So your digital lifestyle must adapt just the same way. And I think I want to demystify the fact that everybody thinks that, artificial intelligence is this new technology that is so difficult to actually embrace. Artificial intelligence has made life 10 times easier, even for anybody that doesn't have computing or technology background. And then that's why even for young people, you don't have to have studied computer science at the university to actually come and do a data scraping or to model agents, because SIMba.AI will help you to walk through that. I mean, like now, issues of language. If I wanted to actually, how many translators would you need in a room to translate a poem for you? It would be very difficult to just get somebody who can write for you that poem in Shona, in Swahili, in Chinese, in Japanese. Artificial intelligence or technology makes life that easy. So it's not even reskilling. It's basically presenting yourself to adapt.
Yeah.
And it becomes very, 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 very easy. We are not, Randy and team, we're not teaching these young people to become computer scientists. No. It's the same skill that you already have. You're willing to adapt. You're willing to do something new. You very quickly learn how to do it. I mean, which school did the 8 billion people in the world go to learn how to use cell phones? Which school did they go to reskill on how to use radio or TV? That is how I want us to actually look at it. But in addition to those who want to actually go slightly deeper with this, we are also offering training using SIMba. So Randy could be sitting in the US and I'm sitting in Nairobi, and we are offering training to a group of young people in South Africa or in Nigeria. The digital, the data scrapers, the 34 data scrapers that we started with in Nakuru were trained by Randy when he was sitting in his office in New York. Actually, in New York that's where we have our office. Sitting in his office in New York and working with his team of engineers here in Nairobi and offering training for these young people in Nakuru. But the main thing here is adaptation. Because the moment you start saying, oh, you need to reskill, then you're creating fear in this teacher who is a geography teacher and now has to learn something, technology. All this teacher needs to do here is to basically adapt to the use of technology as a tool to do what they know best. And there's no way you would be replaced if you're basically using technology as a tool to do what you know best. And artificial intelligence is to help all of us on this planet to do what we know best, do it better.
I love that, Mark. And I think that is an apt ending to our conversation today. And I am grateful to both you and Randy for joining me today on Humor Career Insights to give us hope in AI and not fear. To my listeners out there, adapt and let's not fear. Until next time, stay inspired.